What is up, Undroppables friends? I am back. We are back in the stream streets. I am your host, Andrew Mackens. This is Mack of All Trades, a variety-themed show coming to you on Thursday nights, at least for the time being. And I'm joined by our man of the hour, a special guest on this edition of the Undroppables show, Mack of All Trades. It is the one and only Scott Simpson at Nimble W Numbers. How are you doing today, Scott?
Andrew, I'm doing great, sir. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to tuck into Underdog and do some best ball. This is what we love to do right now. It is the best ball season. This is my first chance to jump on an Undroppables pod, so I'm super excited about that. You guys are an amazing crew. I love you guys all. And so this is an honor, and I'm excited to chop it up, and you're going to try to help me win $1 million. So I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I think we got the clickbait title right on this video, right? Scott Simpson becomes a millionaire. He is, he's got plenty of programs. We saw his show sheet for the week. The FF Millionaires is one of those shows, and I'm sure I'd love to learn more about those as we go through as well. Probably be multitasking during our best ball draft here. But yes, at part of the FF Millionaires, we're going to try to make you a millionaire tonight. Maybe the title is a little bit clickbaity, but I am just as excited as you are to get into an Underdog best ball draft. And I think we can enter this right away, hope for our league to fill. And I'm just going to add this right away. I, as you know, or as some people know, work for Underdog now. And so part of that is I am not allowed to participate in these big tournaments, not Best Ball Mania, not drafts on the platform. I can't take people's money. I guess it's deemed that I have some advantage over other people when in reality I'm a giant fish. But in this case, Scott, I really appreciate you coming on because I know it's your entry into Best Ball Mania. Again, this is $25 entry. First place prize gets $1 million plus one. So it's the biggest best ball tournament out there, biggest first place prize for Underdog. And I'm going to help you along the way. I'm going to be trying to help you with the bye weeks, give any potential advice in terms of who I think could be a good pick, roster construction. But I'm sure you've done a handful of these already, so you at least got the groundwork laid for something like this.
Yeah, no, this is not my first rodeo, which is nice. And I actually have, I think, 4 or 5 of the Best Ball Mania, entered in there, a couple bullets, as they say. And it is clickbaity, but it's also the truth. Somebody is going to win $1 million. It's not a joke. It's not some kind of, actually $1,001. So let's make sure we're clear about that. For legal purposes, it's $1 million. And anybody can win. And I did listen to the Underdog Fantasy Live Best Ball Mania stream with Pete Overzet and Jack Settleman and everybody and Nick Ercolano. And they were talking to the guy who won last year, and he was sharing his build and kind of giving ideas. And so I'm ready to go. I know that you are an expert as well, being part of the Undroppables and Underdog. So we're going to kind of tag team this up and looking for bye weeks, looking for, stacks. My nickname after I won, we got second place last year in one of the GPPs I placed in, is Scotty Stacks now. So I'm always looking, and in best ball, one of the strategies is to stack, particularly your quarterback with your wide receiver. That's not a new thing. So depending on if we're going to go 2 or 3 quarterbacks, that's a kind of a decision we have to make, kind of as we talk about it as we go. But then also, which receivers are going to be paired with those quarterbacks? And in some instances, are we going to pair running back? So if we, get Eckler, is Justin Herbert in the mix? Things like that. Looking at those quarterbacks who target, different parts of the field. Maybe if we get Derek Carr, not that I want to, but have we Darren Waller in the second or third round to kind of match up? Because you really want to maximize when they're going to be popping off together. If one pops off, they're normally going to be there at the same time. So we'll see. I'm excited. What is your strategy? What do you like to implore when you get into best ball, and how does your build go?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the guy who took down this tournament last year is Justin Herzig. He is someone who is also part of Own the Moment NFT, if you've heard of that. If you're in the NBA Top Shot streets, really sharp guy. And I feel like most of my strategy is tailing him and what a lot of people are all following some similar strategies. So you touched on a lot of great things with the stacking. I think that's super important. And I think, one big thing that I like to focus on is really just 2 quarterback or 2 tight end, because I think it gives you so many more options at running back and receiver, and you need that optionality to really, help with the upside at those other positions. And you're really just kind of staking a claim on, 1 tight end and 1 quarterback. In some builds, you can go 3 at one of the positions, like either quarterback or tight end, depending on what players you're actually drafting there. But I think one fallacy early best ball drafters can get into, or people that haven't played it before, is drafting multiple tight ends and multiple quarterbacks, like 4+ of each, just for injury reasons. But if your best tight end or your best quarterback gets injured, then you probably were never going to win the million to begin with. So you're really shooting for the stars. Like, an injury is going to sink you in a lot of scenarios. So in this case, I think being super fragile literally there is a build called hyper fragile. So I've kind of focused on that a lot in terms of whether I identify like what's a good build and what's a suboptimal build.
No, I like that. And I think that, doing a big tournament like, so last year in Scott Fish had a couple players go down and get injured. That was the end for me. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. If you're in these bigger tournaments where you're going to be going up against a league, and then you get out of a league and you got to play a bunch of other league winners, you really have to be on in all facets of the game. So I think it's all hyper fragile, honestly. I mean, like playing DFS, everything's hyper fragile. Play to play is hyper fragile. I was losing or winning thousands of dollars from one play at a time, all season long. So I like that idea.
From Bo, right?
from Bo, yeah. Bo was taking this is the great part about Bo. He is better at DFS than I am, but I've won way more money than him. And so it's just frustrating. So he nickel and dimes me each week. He just takes 25, takes 50, takes 50, takes 25, in that slow build as he kind of takes all my money. But this year I've got Jordan Vanek to help me. I'm not by myself anymore. So Bo, you better watch out. I'm not too proud to beg for help and to get help and to learn from people. And actually, Bo is one of the best in the business. He had like a 92% cash game rate or 88%, something like that. It was just ridiculous. So this guy, he cashes. That's what Bo does. So, I built his whole liquor cabinet up there. I love Bo. And, I'm glad he's here with us. We're about to fill. We've got, like 3 spots to fill.
Yeah.
But Bo is going to be critical of us. If he sticks around here, he will kind of share his thoughts too. So we might be getting like a triple, focused draft here, which is pretty cool.
For sure. And as we're waiting for those others to fill, I think please feel free to, we can do the shameless plugs now because I'm sure we'll get distracted during the draft later. You and Bo do a show together, and I know you have a slate of shows every week. So I would love for you to plug those and what ones are maybe like your baby versus ones that, have been going strong for a long time.
Oh man. Yeah. So I started last year with my first podcast. It's the Fantasy Millionaires. So the FF Millionaires on Twitter. It's with my partner, the Ralph Macho on Twitter, Mike Collins. He's been my best friend for 24 years. So we've known each other since freshman year of high school. And we've just been, we weren't friends right away, but we became just like best of friends. And so we just talk. We talk fantasy football during the regular season. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. But during this time, we're just kind of talking about NBA Top Shot, NFTs, anything that kind of piques our Jake Paul, Floyd Mayweather drama. So kind of any kind of, world star hip hop stuff. And then we talk about Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson and all the different kind of drama, but we're not breaking down like these are my favorite third wide receivers and all that kind of stuff we're not doing now, but we will get to that. Then I started with Bo McBigtime. We started Fast Hard Finish, which turned into Chalk Blocked, which we do now every Friday at 11 on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And then I do a different show with Jamie Calandro from the Fan Team Advice, and that is the Fantasy Football Hot Stove, and that's blowing up, and that's going crazy. We've had Field Yates on there. We've had Matt Waldman on there last week. This week on Chalk Block, we have D. Brown coming on. So all of these shows are great. They're just a great way to build community and relationships, and I love every single person who's gotten to come on and whose shows I've gotten to grace, and it's just been awesome being in the community and getting to be a part of it. I will say, Bo complained. He said, I'm not invited. If you go right now to Underdog and you go in and you jump in the Best Ball Mania, I'm guessing you will get in this tournament, Bo, because it's like the first one ready to go. So don't complain. Jump in right now. You could play against us. You could try to take my money in real time.
Yeah, Bo, you got to try and put your money where your mouth is here. And there may very well be multiple lobbies that are waiting for some to fill like this, but I imagine, this one's going to fill pretty soon here. When I listen to you talk, Scott, it comes off very well. And I think a lot of that might come from because you're a teacher as well in your, what pays the bills, right? Separate from the DFS bankroll, I would assume.
Yeah, totally separate and governed over by my wife. That money, I was just so excited to win some money because then I could do what I wanted with it instead of, my wife kind of purviewing over it all. And so, yeah, I'm a third grade teacher right now. Currently, I'm on leave because my daughter's situation and her health. She's doing great, but just with COVID, our county is not fully vaccinated. We're about 50% vaccinated, which is incredible. It's really good. So her doctor said in the fall she can go back to school. I can go back to school. I talked to my principal yesterday, and it's all good. We're going to go back. But right now, my focus, is all these shows. I think I'm doing 8 podcasts this week, and I love it.
Great, man.
I love it. Yeah. This is me. This is me.
No, I love seeing the schedule too, because then it's like, oh, well, if I'm missing Scott here, like here's where I can go to find him. Because a lot of times I hear of different folks doing a lot of different shows, and it's hard to keep up with what everyone's doing in the space. So it makes me want to, either scroll through the feed or search for the hot stove, whatever it might be. And I was able to catch a little bit earlier of, rewatching some of your show with Cooter Doodle. So
Cooter Doodle, she's great. I love Cooter Doodle.
Yeah, no, she is great. I'm hoping we can get her on here at some point as well. But before we go any further, I think now is a great time for me to plug something as well. Soft launch with very small stream numbers here, a modest stream, if you will. But Underdog has also partnered with the Undroppables. So if you do want to jump into Underdog, if you're a first-time user, right now you can use the code Undroppable. And when you deposit, you'll get a free $25. And that's for you too, Scott. I think I sent the email today, like the announcement's out there for our partners. Anyone that deposits now gets a free $25. That's a free shot at Best Ball Mania, free shot at $1 million, just like what Scott's doing here. And we'll talk more about these best ball principles as we go, some of the features within this lobby. As you can tell, it's super clean, pretty self-explanatory. We're just waiting for like 1 or 2, maybe 3 more people if you scroll to the right there, Scott, just so we can double check. 3 more folks that we're waiting on. But
tell Bo, jump in there, man. This is $25. Hey, Bo, how about this? You know what I'm saying? I already paid you $20 this week to jump on a podcast with me. I'll free roll you for the man. You know what I mean? I'll take your money and my money and take it back after I win it all, and then we can all laugh and go. So seriously, jump in here, bro. I know you've got $25, and I know that you want to talk some mad ass to me in DMs. This is the thing, Andrew. He just doesn't talk ass on real Twitter. He does it in DMs one-on-one. So, like, if you ever see Bo giving me a hard time, it's authentic. Like, he's not like, and behind the scenes, he's not like kissing my ass. Behind the scenes, he's just like, hey, man, remember when I beat you up last week? I'm like, yeah, no, I was there. I remember I watched. I was part of that. So, this is a good chance for you, Bo, to kind of jump in here. Put your money where your mouth is, brother. I agree with Andrew.
Yeah, and my hope is that if he were to join the Best Ball Mania 2 lobby right now, he would get, jumped right into ours. There's something else I wanted to ask you too while we're waiting here, and it comes back to some of your content, because I know you have a lot of different streams. Obviously, that's a lot to manage, but you're, as a teacher, I know most teachers are all good with time management because you have to lesson plan and things like that. I've seen your chalkboard, which is amazing. But the idea of the website too. I wanted to focus on the wide receiver two theory because I've seen that as a constant in your bio, and I still have not. I've procrastinated reading it. Right? There's all these different fantasy articles, and I procrastinate on reading all of them, and then I just never get better at fantasy. So, wide receiver two theory. I know that's something that you've had on your site for a while, and I'd love for you to talk about it here. And does it have any bearing on your strategy for best ball?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it definitely has bearing for best ball. So the gist of it really isn't a revolutionary idea, but it's how the market values wide receivers, particularly how they value wide receiver ones in offense compared to wide receiver twos in the ADP. And there's oftentimes a huge lag or just a fall off between wide receiver ones in offenses and wide receiver twos. And we've seen over the last, 5-6 years, there's been at least 4 or 5 teams every year that have 2 top 25 wide receivers. You know what I mean? You got the Falcons, you've got the Bucks, you got the Rams. There's just so many teams over the years. Oh, look, we filled. So I can kind of talk
Let's
about
go.
Yeah,
Yeah. We can talk about it as we go because I think in the middle of these drafts, everyone was talking about it last year. Everyone's going to be talking about it this year too. There's just so much depth at the wide receiver position that you can, make sure you try to get some of those bell cow-esque backs early on if you can. Obviously, we want to take the value where we can as well. I was watching, actually, I think it was Pete Overzet stream the other day when he was doing a best ball for ship chasing. And I was surprised they didn't go after a couple of running backs at one spot, but it was because they said the wide receivers on the board are just better. So your build kind of changed. You got to stay fluid with your build as opposed to me where I'm like, I'm just going to get the 4 running backs automatically in the first 4 rounds and then go from there.
Yeah, no, I like that. And guess what? At the 1-6, we have Bo Mick big time. So he is in.
Look at that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to go up against my man. So we'll be able to hopefully talk a little smack as we go. First pick is off the board. It's Christian McCaffrey. I'm gonna go to the big board so we can kind of check this out, and I'll switch back. We're gonna be at the turn, which is gonna be tricky, but we're gonna have to kind of talk strategy as the board kind of goes. We've got McCaffrey, Cook, Barkley, Derrick Henry, the typical, suspects here. In that turn, is there a wide receiver that you want to go with or running back? You want to go double running back? How do you want to handle that when we get down there? Is it going to be depending on who's available? Do you already know, I love Eckler. I'm looking for Najee Harris. How do you kind of start this if you're at the turn?
So my guess is Travis Kelce is not going to fall to us.
Yeah,
and he just went. He's the first round pick, locked and loaded. And because we're on the turn, well, one, I like that because we get to talk more strategy on the long turn and then make our 2 picks and go. Yeah. But it depends. I think if you X out and go to the queue, we can take a look at what running backs are remaining because normally I'd like to get a solid running back, like someone who I do think is going to be a bell cow this year. And we could even go 2 if we want to go a robust RB build, from the get-go. And that's where the quote unquote hyper fragile strategy comes in. Yeah. That said, we could grab one of the 2 remaining elite tight ends as well, which really helps us from the position of, okay, we only have to worry about 1 more tight end the rest of the draft.
Yeah. I like what you're thinking. We have Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler. What do you think about Aaron Jones at the 12 compared to the other guys?
Yeah, I don't know what you think about the Aaron Rodgers rigmarole, but I think even if Rodgers isn't there, it might make things tougher for him, but I think he's still been super efficient and they signed him for a reason. So sticking with that makes a lot of sense to me. And if you want to go running back, I'm completely fine with that if you take your pick. Unless there's a wide receiver you really like on the board. There are some elite guys still there. Yeah. AJ Brown is going to get 1 billion targets, and I've got my Titans hat on, so that doesn't help.
I like that, and I'm going to go with AJ Brown because you're right. He's going to get 1 billion targets. I just did the depth chart for them and went through the projections myself. There's nobody else to throw the ball to. There's no Josh Reynolds, but then nobody else after that. Firstger's going to get a target, I'm sure. But man, I had to go with AJ Brown there. I was not expecting that, but Aaron Jones, AJ Brown. So we have a long time to kind of talk about where we're going to go next. And I do want to go with my next, at least maybe 2 picks or 2, we'll see where the tight end situation is. 'Cause I do like if Kyle Pitts is still there with the 4th pick. I don't know if that's too early. We will talk. That might be way too early.
Well, yeah. Ultimately, here, Scott. Like I'm here to be your guide through the drafting cosmos, the best ball cosmos, hot best ball summer, as I like to call it. And I think bringing up that board is great, so we can see this fly by. And I'm willing to provide advice. I support both the Packers and the Titans, so I love how you've started this draft, and on a very even keel, so we're not chasing one position over another. We can kind of let the draft fall to us, as sometimes you have to do in these drafts. Like when you're on the turn, it's a weird combination of, the positional strategy of letting the value fall to you, but also you got to pick a guy if there's someone you really like and he's not going to make it back.
Yeah, I kind of think about the first pick is the value pick of the turn, and the second pick is the reach. If you're going to make a reach pick, that second one is it. And so the first one, I'm always kind of like, where's the value kind of falling to me? And then there's our second guy, Darren Waller, going really early to Bowman big time. It's like he's listening to the show or something. Man.
Yeah. Interesting he went before George Kittle, but I see where Bo's coming from, because much like A.J. Brown, now the Raiders have like no one else to throw to. And Darren Waller could see like 150 targets. Meanwhile, George Kittle, provided that, Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel are all healthy, Kittle could not see as much volume as we've seen from him in the past. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he could be more game dependent and matchup dependent too. I've noticed at times when there's an advantage to be gained in the running game, he gets used a lot of times bracketing and out in front on that edge. I don't think people understand when you can get George Kittle on a safety or even on a smaller linebacker on the edge, that you can, when you run to the edge and then you get out there in the gap scheme, you need to be able just to fly through that hole. And you see it, they have these wide open holes. He does a great job of blocking, and he loves to block too. So you just never know how it's going to fall out. Where the Raiders are normally passing the ball to their wide receiver 1, which is Darren Waller. So yeah, I like Bo picking him. I'm not going to throw shade at it. It is surprising, like you said, to see Kittle go. But I think Bo has Kittle ranked as his 5th tight end. I think Bo's order is Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, TJ Hawkinson, and then Kittle. I have it the other way around. I have Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, TJ Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts, then Kittle. And so I think Kittle and Pitts will be close. But if Julio Jones is gone, that's going to be a show for sure.
Yeah, that would be a big boost to his volume as a rookie. We are seeing a lot of those top tier receivers come off the board, a mini run now. Even Michael Thomas going in the 3rd. Patrick Mahomes, the first quarterback off the board. I know you have spoken with, I believe, JJ Zacharyson before, the late round QB maestro. He has even evolved his strategy to be more mid round QB. And 3rd round is not mid round, so we're still got some time to wait on that. We're not going to hit QB at 3-4 turn. I don't imagine. If there's a tight end you like, then go for it, because you're planning on your flag on that tight end's upside. But the wide receiver, it looks like, could be thinning out. Even running back, like this is my question for you here is, depending on what's even left at running back at this point, are you thinking about hammering wide receiver at all, and then just making more of like a modified 0 RB build where you got your one stud and then you can fill up all the depth later for that second RB?
Yeah, it might turn into that, because there's some really there's some elite wide receivers coming down my way. It was hard to pass on A.J. Brown for sure when he first came. So I'm glad we have one, but the running backs, if Chris Carson's there, I might consider Chris Carson as my 4th round pick. I think that's a great value to get Chris Carson in the 4th. We'll see if Hitman Harry 22 takes him. He would be tripling up on running back there, and maybe he's a robust RB guy, and no, he went Kyle Pitts. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's really early. So, okay, so here's what I'm looking at. I like Terry McLaurin a lot this year. I do. And so I want to get Terry McLaurin as my wide receiver 2. I think that's my play, if it would let me do it. And then at RB, what do you think of Chris Carson? Because I'm leaning him because of the PPR volume. He gets catches. He gets those targets. He has receiving touchdowns as well. Not a bunch of them, but a handful of them.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like with them firing the old OC in Seattle that might be a good option. He's not like my favorite player, and there are some wide receivers I love, like Allen Robinson is still on the board. But ultimately, it's your pick, man.
You know what? I thought about it and I had to go Allen Robinson. We're doing this like a modified 0RB. I didn't even. Denny Carter would be so pleased. Look at you, Dennying me. This is great. Listen, I wanted either Allen Robinson or CeeDee Lamb because I think both of them are really good players. But CeeDee Lamb, I don't think the volume is going to be there compared to Allen Robinson. We see it every year. He is getting the volume, and I know that Fields is new. It'll be a little bit of a transition, but man, his accuracy in college does not portend to concerns, whereas Josh Allen's accuracy in college had concerns. It's always been a topic of conversation. That's not Fields' MO. That's not the problem. I think for him, it's been, can he read all of the defenses? It's been a simpler system that he's been up against in the competition, and now he's in the big leagues, but I'm not worried about that at all. And we've seen what Allen Robinson's done with Foles and Trubisky.
He's been amazing. The argument is that Fields is the best quarterback he's ever had, and he's been amazing without Fields. So it'll be, there might be some growing pains early on. Like there were some growing pains with Robinson last year, but the schedule softened up at the end of the year, and he was money for you. So it's funny because a lot of what I had been doing in best ball draft before Underdog hired me was like draft running back super heavy, but I'm salivating at your team right now in this 0RB build. We get some elite wide receiver production going, and then we can start hammering running back when the value comes our way. Have you done a build like this before? Because I was very much I had 0RB Stan in my profile last season, and then I'm like, you know what? It's not, there's no absolutes in fantasy. We got to be water, like the footballers say. So
right. No, I have a team that looks a little bit like this, but not as strong, to be honest with you. I think I did one of these where I started off, and I think I got Kareem Hunt here in the 5th spot here, somewhere in the middle. I got Taylor had 3 wide receivers, but not A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, and Allen Robinson. And this is surprising me for Allen Robinson. He's got some of these tight ends, Josh Allen getting picked earlier, have pushed players down the board. And Allen Robinson definitely is one of those players that got pushed down the board because of that. And I love it. I could see each one of these guys being a wide receiver 1 this year. And so if 2 of these are wide receiver 1s and then the other one's a wide receiver 2, well, that's an upgrade because I have them as my wide receiver 2 and 3. So I'm getting that, so I do like that a lot. And Chris Carson's on the 3. This is 3 good running backs there for the Bucs fan over here. I like that. Here, I have a question. Maybe you don't know this, and maybe you do know this because I'm not new, but I'm newer to Underdog. How do you get like little decals on your dog? Like I've seen people that have like helmets or like shields or it's got.
Yeah, so that's something I didn't know for a while, but there are like when you go to customize your avatar, there are some unlockable achievements within the like account section, and you have to do a certain amount of things. I can look up the goat horns one because I just noticed like, we do have someone with the goat horns in. We have someone with, I believe, the Spartans hat on at the 11 spot there. Yeah. And so those are some unique ones that we have, but I'll look them up because I know they're on the account page. Well, if you wouldn't mind going off the board, I think it's a good time to show people a little bit of the format, like what we're going for here with starting lineup and bench. So if you click that I for like the rules above the board button for info, this will just show people like this is the tournament structure, the prize breakdown. It's got that $1,001 prize. And then if you go down even further, I wanted to refresh myself on, yes, it's 18 rounds, but the positions that we're filling, I believe, are in here. So you got the NFL scoring, it's half PPR. Nothing crazy in terms of scoring other than that, but we got 1 QB, 2 running backs to start, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 1 flex. So it wouldn't be the worst thing for us to draft another wide receiver coming up here, or even 2, because you want that depth. You want to really maximize the upside. But I also get the strategy of filling your starting lineup if you go like wide receiver quarterback, if you want to grab one of the the few remaining elite guys, if any of them fall to us here, it would be awesome to get one with the 6-1 pick, because they're not coming back if they fall to us. Bo just took Dak Prescott, which I think makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And let me go to the board real quick, and we're going to come back and see a couple wide receivers going off the board. And, here's I actually, in a league where you can start 4 wide receivers, the anti-fragile model says start 4 wide receivers. That's what it says. It just says that. So I'm not against that at all. And if we can scoop Deontay Johnson with one of these picks, I will be thrilled. I'm a Deontay Johnson truther. I know he dropped the ball last year. Don't worry. That's okay. That's okay. He also caught a lot of balls. And when he got double-digit targets on multiple games, that's what you're looking for in best ball. You're looking for those huge upside games. So if Deontay Johnson falls to me, that I'd be happy with that.
That volume's a huge upside for him. We see Lamar goes off the board.
Deontay, right?
I think some wide receiver is going to go off. Yep, some wide receiver is going to go off the board there because he didn't have any yet. So what are you thinking now with the wide receivers? I will note, as I am your guide here, both Aaron Jones and Tennessee AJ Brown have the same bye week, as well as the Browns and the Panthers. So OBJ might be a little precarious of a pick. Otherwise, I'm going to go fine.
Yeah, I went Kareem Hunt there because I do like that value. It's half-point PPR, and so last year he was a top, 15 back. He was a top 12 back, actually. So, I like that getting that late. And then tight end, man, I'm in love with TJ Hawkinson. Like, I know that, not everybody is, but I think TJ is going to be the wide receiver 1 there this year. I know that they're going to be a run-focused team, but TJ is my guy. So I want to get my guy. You talked about having an elite tight end. I think he's one of the top 5. And so this is the 4th tight end off the board, I think. Or maybe the 5th. Is Kittle gone already? I think Kittle is gone.
It'll be the 5th, and there is a big drop. I think that was a good pick there because Pitts went in the 3rd and no other tight end had gone yet. So that's like you said, like if it's the first pick of that round, that's the quote unquote reach pick. But TJ Hawkinson has a ton of upside in that offense. Like you said, like they can't not throw the ball. So if he's their number 1 target getter, I think that could hit in an amazing way. And now, like when we talk about strategy, like I like that, we're filling out these starting positions so we can figure out the depth along the way. You've got that, that RB2. For more upside, I think we will want to hit more options at running back, wide receiver, or we might want to hit running back if there's some value we like. But a tight end now, we've got our 1 tight end. I think because Hawkinson is your guy, we can probably only need to draft 1 more tight end by the time it's all said and done. And before I forget, I'm looking for Detroit's buy. So no Tampa Bay tight end, no Washington tight end, and no Seattle tight end.
Okay, I do like Gerald Everett as a later round tight end.
Yeah, he's a good flyer for sure.
Yeah. That's a good thing to look at. One thing I have been thinking about here is my quarterbacks, and so I didn't go quarterback at all because I am looking to do a little stacking, and all of these quarterbacks are going to be later round or mid-round quarterbacks. So Ryan Tannehill is going to be later. Ryan Fitzpatrick we can get as our 2nd quarterback or our 3rd if we want to get 3. And then Justin Fields is an upside pick as well. So we have options that are going to be going on later on that does allow us even the next maybe 3 or 4 picks to kind of not jump into quarterback, and we can hammer wide receiver and running back. So I do love that. And so let's just say when we get back here, let's talk about who we think has the most upside out of that wide receiver running back queue. We'll pull them both up and we'll just kind of go through and go upside. And that's what you're looking for in these best ball tournaments. Because like you said at the start, we've got one quarterback. You're not starting 2, you're starting 1, but starting 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers. It could be 3 running backs. It could be 4 wide receivers. So you want to really maximize as many, maybe 7 wide receivers at the least on your team at the minimum.
And I think the big thing with the upside of stacking more and more wide receivers is that even if the wide receiver doesn't have more upside on the season, there's more potential for spike weeks for some of these wide receivers, like they catch a deep ball for a touchdown. I think there's a lot more outs for some of these wide receivers that come up to have like startable weeks in our lineup. versus a running back that, I feel like the highest upside some of the running backs remaining will have at this point are going to be, 10 carries and they fall into the end zone twice. And that's not the easiest thing to do. So I think we could wait even longer for some of the running backs. But, the way that's just shaking out with the AJ Brown, like being our marquee, like wide receiver here. And you mentioned Tannehill, like I'm thinking to myself, let's double check the ADP on that to make sure we don't miss where we are and where he could be going. I mean, Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson are still there, but like you said, we probably want to wait. Oh, he's way down there. So that's interesting.
He's 10 down.
So yeah, we can definitely wait there. And then, but I was thinking to myself, like, I didn't ask you to come onto this podcast to make me feel good, but if we ended this team with a Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, Anthony Ferkser stack, backup tight end, I mean, and then this is an 18-round draft. I don't know what round Josh Reynolds is going in, but you could throw that in there too. And I don't know, like
their defense is bad. That's what you want to do. You want to look for
teams that
have offenses that are explosive or that might need to be explosive, that might need to get the ball down the field because they're losing. And, they fit into that category. I didn't know that you were a Titans guy, though. So for me, I'm not trying to pander here, but I do like the Titans organization. I'm saying nothing bad about them. Let's jump back in here because we are almost up, and so let's take a look at our Trey Sermon's. Oh my god,
that would have been a good upside pick there.
Yes,
the only other guy running back wise would be maybe Michael Carter.
Yeah,
if you like his pass catching ability, but then looking at the other receivers, like I don't know, Marquise Brown, I think his floor is too low.
Yeah,
well, Michael Gallup could be interesting because he's in the Cowboys offense, and he had some big weeks at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks is an interesting guy there.
I'm going to go Brandon Cooks because here's the thing about him. He has finished in the top 20 5 out of the last 6 years or something like that. So that's somebody that you want, and that's an upside play. It's not perfect, but it's an upside play. Let's look at the running backs. We have I'm not going to touch most start. Melvin Gordon, no thank you. What do you think about Michael Carter? I
don't know enough about him, but you got to pick in 5 seconds.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go for upside, and we don't know a lot about Michael Carter and what that role is going to be looking like, but I do know that Becton is huge, and he's on the left side. He's like 7'9" or something. I think they just drafted another guard to go alongside. I'm not sure if he's going to be on the right side or the left side, but they are trying to rebuild, and I like what they did in the draft. I'm not a huge Zach Wilson guy. His mom, I am a Zach Wilson. Lisa Wilson, shout out. She let me follow her on Instagram. She is hilarious. She talking about hump day the other day going, it's for you should do hump days for nooners, but not with strangers. That's a danger. And I was like, what in the world? This lady is awesome. So, that was an upside pick. And here's my thought about this too. You need to have a running back who it doesn't, every week you don't need him to start and be awesome. And so we have Kareem Hunt, and we also have, the very first pick that we have, I really love him, Aaron Jones. Aaron Rodgers or not, he's going to have to be on the field. He's going to have to be on the field if Aaron Rodgers is not there even more so, which I love. So that's a great, kind of start there. And then Kareem Hunt's PPR value, whenever they're losing, he'll be on the field, which I love. He always catches touchdowns. They have designed routes for him, wheel routes, different players out of the backfield. And so I like that. And then if Michael Carter can come on by the end of the season, that's what I'm looking for Michael Carter.
Mm-hmm.
I need him to win me a few games. Maybe they're garbage games. Maybe they're week 13, 14, 15 when the Jets are there and he's the only game in town because P. Ryan is his competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's him and like Tevin Coleman. I mean, I wouldn't even blame you for also getting Tevin Coleman at the bottom, but then you kind of limit your options, like because it's if they're both fighting for touches, then you're shit out of luck. But I don't hate the Michael Carter pick. I like it a lot more than some of these other picks in this round. I'm not too bullish on Tyler Higbee. Tony Pollard's interesting, but he's, you're praying for an injury. Melvin Gordon's got Javonte Williams in the way. Raheem Mostert, we said we didn't like. Leonard Fournette, I like Ronald Jones more than Leonard Fournette. Simple as that. Mike Williams is an interesting pick. I know he's kind of like the second wide receiver on the Chargers, and he just got picked in the 8th round. What do you think of Mike Williams?
We talked about Justin Herbert the other day on the Guilty as Charged podcast, which is something I do for Chargers Nation. And Mike Williams plays a dogged type style of football, and he's great on the edge, but he's not been able to maintain health, and so the concern for him, if he is there a couple seasons ago, 10 touchdowns, so nice red zone target. They also brought in Jared Cook, which, he's a great red zone target as well. He's kind of made his money there for the Saints last couple of years. He's a high touchdown guy. That's where his points have come from. So it limits, I think, Mike Williams upside a little bit. I think the 8th round is a stretch. I think you could have waited and gotten him in the 10th round, but he's on that turn. You got to get who you can get. And maybe there's some fear, as you you're not in the middle. So, but yeah, no, I'm not a fan right now of that. I like Justin Herbert a lot though. And so they are going to get touchdowns. I think Jalen Guyton will get touchdowns. He was PPR darling last year.
Yeah. I think if he stays healthy, there's a lot of potential there and with the upside, because he's had, like you said, a 10 touchdown season. He's had a 1,000 yard season. He just needs to put those together now, and we'll be, peachy keen. And with Herbert there, I think that there's definitely that potential. So I know the pick's coming back to you pretty quick here. What are we thinking roster build wise? Because when I keep alternating between positions, then I think I'm just going no potential or no intentional position strategy. Yeah. And I suppose you could be like, well, these are going to be my 4 wide receivers, and now I'm just going to continue to hit depth at the running back position, or, the quarterback thing is something that we got to be cognizant of as well. I think you're on top of it, but
yeah. So I think what I do want to get here, and I am 1 pick away, is I might want to grab, and I'm not sure if Tannehill's going to come back to me or not. And that's the only fear I have. I do love AJ Brown. He is the 4th quarterback down there. So I think I'm going to grab him as my last pick, my 10th pick, just because I'm afraid he's not going to be around. But looking at running back, I wanted to see, what do you think of Gus Edwards? He's somebody who intrigues me. Kenyon Drake there as well. Even David Johnson. I don't love David Johnson. I hate him actually. But I've got AJ Dillon. I could pick him up as like a. What are you thinking? Actually, I'm going to grab the quarterback right now just so we can kind of.
Grab Tannehill first, because I didn't realize you're on the clock already. Stafford just went, but I think that's really smart. We can't pass on Tannehill here. Yeah. Let me see. Your other wide receivers so we could wait on Justin Fields. Can wait on Ryan Fitzpatrick. I like Gus Edwards is interesting, but he's splitting time. I like Nyheim Hines a lot because he's had some spike weeks and he's got that pass catching upside, which we've been going after. He's like right under Gus Edwards. What is it? It won't let you.
It auto drafted me Zach Moss.
Oh no!
And the championship is over. And oh man, okay.
So this is something I wanted to bring up, but we were kind of flowing in the conversation. I didn't want to interrupt you. One thing that I know Overzet does is he'll always queue up the players. So if the time's out, then it just takes the top of the queue. So what happened there is it must have timed out, gave you Zach Moss, who was just top of the board, and then you drafted Tannehill with the 10-11 or no, with the 10-1.
Well, so watch Moss have some crazy week, 15, 16. It actually matter. Not what I wanted to do, not my strategy, but we accept it. And then Bo grabs Hines just to salt the wound because he's gonna talk some mad shit about that later. So thanks, Bo. That's awesome. Yeah, I will do that. And we were talking and we're trying to kind of figure out. So now we have Tannehill. Fields is off the board, so we're not going to get Fields. So looking at our wide receivers, I don't know about Desean Watson. What I've been doing with Desean Watson is if he's around late in the draft, I've just been scooping him because, you get somebody in the 16th round, who cares? It doesn't even really matter over a marginal running back or wide receiver. So that's a possibility if he's around to pair him up with Brandon Cooks. That could just be a late round winner. So we'll kind of pay attention to that. And then we can also look at Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Fitzmagic. And see where he's coming up next. So
I think another option we could potentially do, and I know you think Anthony Lynn's an idiot, so maybe you don't want to do this, but we've got Hawkinson, and if the tight end's going to hit, there's potential that you would want to target like a Jared Goff too, at value.
We could
and
do
then
that.
you could add some more Lions wide receivers if they're like a bad team that's going to be having to come from behind, because that's a potential scenario as well, and it's just like a late round value stack. I don't know if does that have championship winning upside? Probably not. Like if we realistically think through that, so I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves there, but maybe we can queue up some players that we're interested in along the way, just so we don't miss, like we did with Zach Moss there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's a good feature, and I normally do that on my cell phone, and so it's an easy thing to do on your cell phone. Just tap with your thumb there. And so as I'm kind of getting my bearings here, I do need to do that. I'm not in love with the upside of some of these other quarterbacks, so I think I am going to wait on that quarterback. I don't mind putting in Kenyon Drake. I don't think that they paid him $7 million to do nothing. Alexander Madison, nice RB, zero RB guy, just because he can get the job if somebody gets hurt. But I mean, I'm not going to necessarily target him, but I'll entertain him. I like Nelson Aguilar this year in New England. I don't like New England, but we saw what he could do last year. And so if he spikes, he's somebody who could pay off. So I'm just going to load up a couple guys who have value. Russell Gage could have more value. Josh Reynolds, there's our guy, Josh Reynolds. So let's try to get Josh Reynolds. Let's make that our goal coming around.
Let's look at more of these wide receivers, because I can't do the math on it, but I feel like taking some shots at maybe some of the rookies towards the top, like a Rondale Moore, or there's another one that caught my eye. I just find interesting. Elijah Moore. I mean, we don't know what's going on between him and Crowder, and you are on the clock, so I guess we got to pick someone here.
Yeah. So
Kenyon Drake went off the board.
Kenyon Drake's gone. I do like Nelson Aguilar a lot in this round. It's kind of, a dart throw, but I'm going to go with that. And then I do want to get Josh Reynolds. We have, if AJ Brown goes down.
Do you think we can wait?
We could wait. You're probably right. We could wait.
He's 154, so that's why I was like looking at Rondale Moore still on the board, and I'm kind of interested in him versus.
Let's find.
Unless he got drafted, Elijah Moore got drafted. We got 10 seconds, so if you want to take Reynolds,
you know what?
You can take him.
I'm going to do something even different, and I went St. Brown. I think there's going to be opportunity there. So if Hockenson is not the man, we've kind of tied ourselves now a little bit to Detroit. We were talking about it. As a rookie, I don't think he's going to come off the board and crush right from the beginning. I think there's always rookie growing pains, but there's going to be games where Detroit is getting smoked, and there's going to be a lot of garbage time. I think by the end of the season, he could be one of those rookies who has upside. And I'm disappointed about that Moss thing right now, even more so, because I think there's another running back that we could have had that would have had a little bit more value. But besides that, I do like the upside so far in these players. New offenses for Nelson Aguilar and the rookie, of course. I'm on St. Brown, but man, there is upside here. The offenses they're in are going to be scoring points, so I like that a lot.
I really like that we hit wide receiver. We hit 2 wide receivers there, right? Because there was I was getting to the point in my mind where it's like we need more than 4 wide receivers in case one of these guys just gets shut down one week. Yeah. And so we needed some more options there. And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown makes sense based on the volume, like you said. And then who was the other guy that you grabbed? Because I know you said you liked him. Yeah,
I grabbed Nelson Aguilar. And what I liked about him was how he got vertical last year. The Raiders used him as their down. They drafted Henry Ruggs to use him as their downfield threat, and then they were like, "Nah, we're going to throw it at Nelson Aguilar," and he was dangerous down there in those 50-50 balls in the end zone. And so I don't know if Cam Newton starts the whole season and is there the whole time, but we do know that Nelson Aguilar will be there the whole time. And I'm not a huge Jacoby Myers guy. I think that you're going to sign somebody, you're going to play somebody. And I've never seen Bill Belichick ever do this before. This to me was a desperate move from Bill, where he just emptied his wallet. He was like, I'm just going to go. And he did. He just paid a bunch of skill position players. I think he overpaid them, honestly, but I think he's going to have to use them now. I don't think he's going to pay them all this money, $12 million a year or $10 million a year, just to go, we're not going to throw the ball to you. We're going to run it with Sony Michel. So I think Bill is going to adapt a little bit. And so
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting, especially if Mac Jones becomes the starter and is the one kind of throwing those deep passes to Aguilar. Whether Cam Newton can still do that, the jury is out, I would say.
Yeah, Josh Reynolds stolen from us. He did not make it back. Damn. Who is that? MJM. I'm coming. Is that Jay's in there? Is this? Oh, I better not be G-Man Jay. I'm gonna have to find out. You know, Jay just stole him from me. I mean, Bo, I expected. Bo's a stealer. That's what Bo does. You know, he steals the picks. I mean, let's talk about the players we talked about. We talked about Ronald Jones. He stole them. You talked about Naeem Hines. He stole them. So like right there, 2 steals of players.
So he's just tailing my picks.
Yeah, he's sweating. Still sweating the undroppables after all these years. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it is what it is. But it's fine. The good thing is we still have our second quarterback to go, and we have 6 picks left. So we're in good shape. We can get another tight end too. So maybe what I'll do is I'll look at the tight ends and the quarterbacks, because we still have some guys I like in the running back and wide receiver queues have not been stolen away. And so there's still a lot of quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins is around, and Fitzmagic is still around if we want to pair him up. I love Fitzmagic because he's going to throw some interceptions, but he's going to have games where he just goes off. And there's no one else in Washington.
Yeah, I would queue up Fitzpatrick because I saw him like up there in our top, like in the top remaining QBs. And he has those games where he goes off, and now he's got even more weapons to do it, which still, like, we could find, you can create some of these stacks late, like because we waited on quarterback a little bit longer. You can get Fitzpatrick now, and then in the last 3 rounds, like 15 or last 4 rounds, 15 through 18, we could start looking at the other weapons. I mean, or before I speak further, I just want to make sure we didn't have a conflict. Okay. So we can't get Logan Thomas because Logan Thomas has, and he might have already been drafted, but Washington and Detroit have the same bye week.
Yeah.
And that's fine from from a wide receiver perspective, but I think we got to commit to one stack or the other. The Washington with Ryan Fitzpatrick, De'Ami Brown, and Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel's probably off the board already.
De'Ami Brown's a good late round target.
But De'Ami Brown would be a good late round flyer.
Yeah.
Or like with the Lions, you've got Amon-Ra, you've got Hawkinson, and then you could go Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And I think Washington's probably got more upside. You could also throw in like a J.D. McKissick in there if he's still on the board. I haven't been watching which guys have been falling off and which guys are still there, but that's where my head's at for you. And I'd like that you threw Troutman and Kmet in the queue as well.
Yeah, I think they are tight ends with upside. And you saw the splits with Cole Kmet last year. By the end of the season, he was taking Jimmy Graham's place. And Jimmy Graham wasn't playing terrible. He was getting touchdowns. He was in the mix the first couple weeks of the season, for a top 15 tight end. So I do also like, all right, we're up now. So I am going to go Ryan Fitzpatrick because I think the gunslinger in me, I've been getting him. I don't look exactly like him, but I have been modeling my look.
We have to support the beard health.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm local. I'm here in Washington. I'm outside Washington. So tight end, if we're looking at tight end, I do have a few queued up here. Get rid of my QBs.
I would DQ Madison because it'll auto draft him if we don't decide.
Yeah,
let's decide on a tight end if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, so between Troutman, Kmet, and Henry, is there a lean that you have? I like all of them. I mean, I don't know.
It's always tough with rookie tight ends, young tight ends. So I'm almost inclined to go Henry, but it's up to you, man. Troutman's like what, the second receiving option otherwise?
Yeah, I like
you got Troutman.
I'm okay with Troutman. Here's the thing. Troutman or Henry or Kmet, any of those were fine for me because they're all going to be my second tight end. I'm not looking for them to crush every week. I need them to come in and maybe be there for a couple weeks when Hawkinson isn't playing. He's got a bye week here or there or whatever. So I'm not too worried about that. And I do think in that offense, they're going to throw the football. They're still going to throw the football a lot. That's what they're not going to start just running the football completely. We saw what happened last year when they just tried to run with Kamara. They have to throw the football to set up the run. They have to play action. They have to do all these things. And so I'm not worried about that.
I haven't talked a lot about it, but I am all in on LASIK Jameis. I want to see Jameis Winston with LASIK torch the NFC South so bad because if you can go 30, join the 30-30 club, 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, and 5,000 passing yards, then if you're being under the tutelage of Sean Payton, I think he can still work wonders in this league. We need to see a little bit better vision, a little bit better decision making, no pick sixes, and then Jameis Winston's stock is going to be flying to the moon.
To the moon, right? Like
to the moon, as they say.
Yeah. To the Doge, as we would hope. Yeah. So
so McKissick's good pick in there.
Yeah. And I'm targeting folks now that I'm looking at who have the potential. The reason I put Philip Lindsay in here is because there's a narrative that I'm sculpting, and most people are, is they're going to be terrible. They're going to be losing. When you're losing, a lot of times you're having to throw the football to your running back or throw the football, not run the football. I know that Cully's going to try to run the football, but you got Mark Ingram, David Johnson. I don't know how long those guys hold up. So that's just it's a dart throw. And then Jamison Crowder, best case scenario, he gets released from the Jets. Maybe he goes somewhere else where he's more used. Maybe he goes to Kansas City. No offense, Mecole Hardman. You're good, but you're not as good as Jamison Crowder. You're just not.
Best case scenario, I've heard he gets signed by the Titans. The Titans need a slot wide receiver, and that he would just fall right into your super stack.
I need this now. And if Bo McBig Time steals Jamison Crowder, I don't know.
I think people are a little scared to take Crowder because they don't know what's going to happen with him. Like, is he going to stick on the Jets? Or the uncertainty scares them the same way it scares them from drafting like an Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams falling in the middle of the second round, things like that. That uncertainty there is people do not like. Lindsay, you mentioned, if they're going to be throwing passes, I didn't know if he was going to be the receptions guy or if it was going to be David Johnson, because I thought in Denver, like, Lindsay never got a lot of receiving work from my memory. But you might know the numbers better than me. No,
you're correct. His frame and his build is a slasher. I mean, he's like 185. He's not built for between the tackles crushing it. So I don't think he's got bad hands. I don't think. Bo got Cole Kmet. So nice pick there, Bo. I don't think that he is somebody who I'm targeting in lots of drafts, but that's just my thought as I look at those running backs. I'd rather have McKissick, honestly, just tying into our stack.
Yeah, McKissick just went.
Yeah, but if we can survive Jamison Crowder, I will grab Crowder. I'm gonna uncue Philip Lindsay because I'm not in love with that.
I was gonna say I was watching a draft on the Underdog YouTube channel the other day. You're on the clock, so we can talk it through before you draft. Just let it go. It gives us 20 extra seconds. Yep. If we're looking for another running back here, I think, I just saw his name towards the top. Chuba Hubbard. Like, if Christian McCaffrey goes down again, Chuba Hubbard could be a huge piece for this team. That is kind of building on the zero RB theory of, like, running backs are fragile. But in the later rounds, I think, Chuba Hubbard got taken the pick before you, and
okay.
I'm just seeing that now. I apologize.
No. Well, what do you think about some of these rookies? Javian Hawkins. You saw Mike Davis's quads; those were huge.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
is it time for him?
No, I don't think it's not time for him.
Otherwise, we got to pick a wide receiver now. De'Ami Brown's at the top.
Oh, I'm gonna get timed out again. I did it to myself again, and they got me Hunter Henry. Okay, you know what? That's not terrible. We didn't want three, but that's not the end of the world. So let's look at
It's not the end of the world because that gives us some insurance in that backup tight end. We definitely don't want to go a third quarterback just because we want a little more options at running back and wide receiver. And I think with the way we started, like we're just and then De'Ami Brown got taken.
Son of a bitch. Yeah. Well, and I think that Chuba Hubbard pick would have been a great one for us here if he had not gone off the board before. And I think that would have.
Yeah. Well, that's partly my fault because I was making you on a wild goose chase for Chuba.
A wild Chuba chase.
Yeah, a wild Chuba chase, if you will. And De'Ami would have been the pick there for sure because I was thinking, like, let's hit, like, with the we just kicked off the 16th round, so we got to make 2 more picks. I would say one more running back and one more wide receiver. Otherwise, like the way we talk about, if we want to talk about the hyper fragile strategy, and then you can educate on the anti-fragile strategy. Hyper fragile in my mind is that you are drafting pretty much only 3 or 4 running backs, and you're betting on them to be your starters for the entire season.
Yes.
And because if your your first round pick gets hurt, then you're screwed anyway. So you're just getting those top guys, and you're hoping to, you're hoping to go and pick those up. Sorry, I just had lost my train of thought there.
No, I agree with you. And I'm trying to check and see now where we're in the position. We are in that section where we're looking for those rookies or those players who are not going to start or who are going to be ascending when we need our week 14, 15, 16, 17 in the playoffs. So it's a dart throw right now for sure.
There might be some rookie wide receivers we want to get. Well, let's look at who are your running backs again, because what I was going to say is that normally you want those 4 running backs to be really strong, so they're always going to bring in good returns. There's a lot of upside in Carter and Moss, but we don't know that those guys are going to be locked in for week in and week out really solid production. So I think we do got to hit at least one more running back on the turn here.
Yeah.
And I apologize for my lack of focus before, because that's what I was driving towards. We probably got to get one more running back with this grouping. Because I would like the running back room to be a little bit stronger if I were Scott. Ultimately, these are his decisions here. But
yeah,
and you could even go 2 running backs because we are so strong at wide receiver. Like you went strong with wide receiver from the beginning. You could take 2 shots. Javian Hawkins, I think, is a great pick for us here, because if Mike Davis gets banged up a little bit, or if they're behind and he's going to be like the pass catching type back, I think that's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of anything.
I mean, it's like everything's a dart throw, right? So like Phillip Lindsay's still there, so you can get Phillip Lindsay. As you were talking about him before, that would be value at this point.
Yeah.
And I think I was hearing on the Underdog YouTube channel the other day too, they were going through a draft. It was Josh Norris, like an actual analyst compared to myself, guiding Ian Hartitz through a draft, and Hartitz was drafting. Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought again. I think he was just saying like a lot of these running backs at the end are, the upside. Oh, he was saying Damian Williams in Chicago, like that is ultimately could easily be a thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about
that. And that's going to hurt David Montgomery. So, I mean, maybe there's a chance there, but you are on the clock. So I want to make sure you get your guys here for your last pick.
I'm going to check the wide receivers real quickly and just see if there's any
blatant steals.
I mean, I'm wondering with Demarcus Robinson, because there's nobody else in that Sammy Watkins role. It's the Chiefs offense, and so they didn't draft anybody. And I already have Jameson Crowder if he goes there. I think this is just an upside play, and I'm chasing the offense. But I got Demarcus Robinson, and then running back wise, I got Javian Hawkins. So I like it. I'm happy with this team, and I think this is a team that is it's not anti-fragile. I mean, we had to kind of go and get some support because of the Moss situation. I think that did change it, how it unfolded at the end. If we could have had, I don't even know, like Kenyon Drake in there and Naheem Hines, I'd feel just better, a lot better. But I think what we're looking at here is wide receiver 1 potential here, wide receiver 2 potential here, wide receiver 2 potential for Crowder. And so I like that. I like that. And then Hunter Henry, I think he's going to be more of a week-to-week play, where 1 week he might do nothing, but the next week Bill Belichick might throw him 2 touchdowns. So he might be that Tyler Higbee category, like, kill him 1 week, and then the next week you don't want to have anything to do with him.
Yeah. So. No, I'm totally there with you. Well, we completed a best ball draft, and we were able to get it in pretty much an hour or so. So I think that that went pretty well. all things considered.
No, and I like the tools that are on here, and I should have used them a little bit better drafting my computer for my first time. So we're all learning as we go along. On my phone, I have it all queued up, and my thumbs are much quicker than my mouse. But you can look at the tool here, which I love, and it doesn't mean it's going to be exact, but you can just see the projection and where they have us. So they have us projected for 2,621 points. And then if you go down to, let's say, somebody like Bo, you can see he's projected for a little bit more, 2,700. So it's not exact, it's not perfect, but they're kind of giving you a range, which I like. And Bo's team, Bo went with 3 quarterbacks. He had Dak, Daniel Jones, and Derek Carr. So kind of those late round quarterback upside guys who are cheaper. Taylor, Pollard, Jones, Hines, and Murray. So he cinched up the Indy backfield. So he targeted the whole backfield, which is great. Oh, it just went back to me. Let's go back to Bo. Oh, it's done. It's letting me know it's done. So, oh, that's it. The best ball draft has ended.
Well, you can still look. I think this is good so people can know. Like, you can click your Best Ball Mania 2, your 4 entries there. I'm like pointing at my screen, like you can see what I'm pointing at. So yeah, just click on that, and then you can pick. I think it's going to be the top one will be the most recent.
There we go.
And then that you can still do the drop down and go back to Bo's team if we want.
Oh, perfect.
And what I wanted to see there is if Bo had any stacks, because I don't know if other than Derek Carr and Darren Waller, I was looking at his wide receivers to see what he had. He's got his receivers like DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Chase Claypool, Devontae Smith. None of these receivers seem to stack as far as I can tell. So I don't know what Bo is doing here.
Yeah. I see what he's doing a little bit. He's chasing Keenan Allen with Josh Palmer, so he's trying to get that positional, backup. And then he's going upside with Gabe Davis. He's going Devontae Smith upside. So he's chasing upside. I mean but he's not stacking, and that is surprising. There's only 1 stack here, but you know what? We'll see what happens with this. I'm going to monitor this league particularly since Bo is in it. And as you see, I have some other prizes in here bullets in here. I'm hoping to win as well. But this was a unique build, and I really do love drafting on Underdog. And one of the cool tools that you can look at too is you can go over and look at your exposures and see. And so you can see, a lot of these guys I've already drafted before. You know what I mean? And so I didn't do myself justice. I didn't step too far outside of my comfort zone, but I really do love some of these players. And Terry McLaurin is one of my guys this year. And, getting Fitzmagic late, I like to pair them up, and also having Logan Thomas in there. And so, Ryan Tannehill is my second most drafted quarterback, Matt Ryan, CeeDee Lamb. So I am targeting some of these teams, but then I did go outside the box as well. And I thought it was excellent, man. I really love this. And thanks for having me come on your show. I'm a huge fan of the Undroppables. There's so many amazing people who are part of the Undroppables. And so please do check out, not just Andrew, but the whole crew. I love everybody over there.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, Scott. And, we do have just so many different things going on at the Undroppables. Obviously, we love people checking out our content on our website. It's just theundroppables.com. We do have a Twitter account, but obviously, if anyone's watching this and hasn't followed Scott on Twitter already, I'd be very surprised. At NimbleW Numbers, make sure to check him out, and he'll be tweeting about his various shows that he does on a weekly basis. Very nice of you to come on and spend your time with me as well on Mack of All Trades.
This has been awesome. And guys, don't forget, go to Underdog Fantasy and then sign up and put Undroppables in there. You're going to get a free $25. It's a deal. It's a steal. You can do this with your friends, and then you've got a free entry into the Best Ball Mania too. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for all the best ball heads out there.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Scott. Again, that's promo code Undroppable. We actually cut the S off of that, which funny enough works perfect for best ball, because you can't, no waivers, no trades, no problem. You can't drop anyone. Everyone's undroppable. And we also have the link in the description of this video. So we really appreciate your guys' time. Thank you for watching this. And hopefully this will be the document that shows Scott Simpson winning $1 million.
I love it. Thanks, Andrew.
All right. Yeah. See you guys.